Shane Jordan. What are you doing? Who are you?
I'm Shane. This is Mr. Dennis.
How in the world are you doing?
Oh,
I ain't seen you in a long time, man.
I know.
Joanne, she's doing good.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah?
Haven't got to see her in a while.
Yeah, have you talked to her lately?
No. I will. My phone. I'm going to have to get another phone.
Are you still doing PDR one?
Mm-hmm.
Are you?
I'm going to have to get a phone.
There for a while you was staying with Jimmy over their hop in. You still
Yeah.
doing that?
That was off and on because we were in a band and stuff, but I didn't have time for the band.
You didn't have time for the band?
I didn't have time for it. I mean, I played with them. We played out for 2 years.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Didn't have time for it.
You don't ever hear from your sister, do you, Donna?
No.
Ever? When was the last time you spoke to her? 10 years ago? Probably grandma's funeral?
Yeah, my mom's funeral.
Yeah. Yep. That's been how long?
95.
95.
I was called because I had her number and stuff, and I called, but she never returned calls or nothing.
Well, she does her sister the same way, Joey.
Well, I don't know, because my older brother, was kind of laughing one time a few years ago when he said, "Yeah, Joanne is on one of her high horses again. You know how she does. She gets in moods and she called Donna and cussed her out or something."
Yeah.
So they were. But here's the thing. I was going to tell you something. God, it slipped right out of my mind.
You remember whenever y'all was working over at Alamo with Dad
Mhm.
and your dad, and y'all decided to take the bathroom and lock Dad up in the bathroom? Y'all remember that?
It's funny.
Y'all remember that?
I'll tell you something else.
He beat the whole door off, didn't he?
I think so, but here's something else that was funny. Jude, the younger brother of mine,
Yeah.
had a long, frizzy hair.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, him and Johnny, when he came, all right, because they were the same age, even though it was his nephew, I guess.
Right.
I don't know, they were the same age. Anyway, they got on this wild kick at the body shop, and they started getting destructive a little bit just for childish meanness. And they were like 12 years old or something. Anyway, they started pulling like hammering, like taking them hammers and hitting stuff. And Jude said he went to the bathroom a few minutes later because he had a pee roll out. And he said he had heard an explosion. It was so loud it made his eardrums ring. And he turned around and he said he saw something blurry. He looked like a steel thing or something. He looked, it was a pick hammer with splinters coming out. And it was for Johnny. He just slammed the hammer the door. And Jude, he said he laughed so hard that when he found out what it was, he said he didn't get a chance.
If I'm in your way, just let me know. I'm out.
He didn't get a chance to turn around quick enough.
What was wrong with my dad? Do you know?
Some of it was the military.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. A lot, yeah, half of it.
He'd go on a high horse, and then 15 minutes later, you want to sit down and buy you a cold drink and tell you a story or something, huh?
A lot of that is drugs, though, and I don't care what they say, because I already know, because I've had buddies that did go to the Army, and I've also got some guys that are still alive that would be your dad's age if he was alive now, almost 100, but some of them were around real good, but they even admitted that in the Army and the military. I had one tell me a few months ago, he said, back a long time ago in World War II, your dad fought in that, didn't he?
Yeah, oh yeah.
He said, World War II, he said, he wouldn't believe it. He said, our sergeant would come around, we'd be all like kneel down with our guns, but nothing was happening. It'd be at nighttime or something. He said, our sergeant would come around and pass these things out. They would open the pill.
Let me ask you a question.
They did in the Army.
Let me ask you a question.
That's what was wrong with him.
Oh yeah, yeah. He had like shell shock or something.
I'll tell you
like
somebody
that.
else that acted just like him and had the same personality, the same temper. Mama Lucy. And I guarantee you, she was on that stuff. I guarantee you.
She was on it. She had a hot temper, that's for sure. But she let Billy Holloman walk all over.
Well, Bill Holloman was.
I never did understand that. Did you?
Billy Holloman was popping pills too. I know he was. I can tell, man, the way they act, the way Michael Lucy and all of them.
Let me ask you a question. Kerry Lee claims that y'all used to live down there at Crump about the time you had that motorcycle wreck. Did Buford Poster really come in there and see you in the hospital?
He did.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Barely. Because I just come out of a surgery, and I had another surgery like 2 days after he saw me, and I remember he was a real tall man.
Yeah.
Large. I remember he was real friendly. I mean, I remember I couldn't talk because I was just so. I was trying to say hi, and
well, that motorcycle wreck almost caused you to lose your leg, didn't it?
Almost caused me to lose my life.
But I mean, it literally almost shortened your leg. What, about 5 inches? But did you have an operation on it and you lengthened it or something?
They shortened this leg. They stopped the growth some in this leg, but most of it, I wear a build-up that I make on my own, my shoe. I don't have it in tonight.
You're still what, 5'11" or 6 foot?
Right at 6. I don't have a lift in. I got a half a lift in my shoe that's homemade. I got to finish making it so that way I'll be where I'm level.
But you do remember that?
Yeah.
Buford Poster.
I do.
And according to Kerry Lee, your dad and Buford Poster was going to go into a retail business.
Retail to sell men's suits.
Yeah.
And clothes and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. And that's whenever y'all decided to, I guess your dad decided to move up north, and that's whenever he opened up the body shop, wasn't it?
No, we moved to Columbus, Georgia.
That's right. That's right. How in the world did Julie get married in Georgia?
Did you?
Yeah. Was your sister living down there with y'all at that time?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that has something to do with it.
Do you remember when she had the baby?
Mm-hmm. I remember when Julie was born.
Really?
Yep. I'll tell you somebody else that was...
Boy, Californians went to the pits, man.
I never had...
Californians went to the pits. All of San Francisco, over there where the Golden Gate Bridge is, they said you can't walk nowhere without seeing syringe needles everywhere, and all those gangs that go in and rip people off, and now all the rich people are moving out, and it's basically turning into nothing but just a slum. A slum.
I had a guy tell me a similar story. He's a salesman. He's up in his almost 60, and he came back and he said, California's no fun no more. He said, man, it's dirty, it's nasty. And he said the same thing about the syringes. And he said, and it stinks real bad. He said, it smells like people use the bathroom and just crap everywhere.
Right.
He was saying.
Right.
I was going to tell you something. I forget. Joanne's husband, the guy named Bud, he was an Italian guy.
Yeah.
Bud, he had that real violent, hot temper. And
is he the one that Kerry Lee had problems with?
Yeah, well, at one time.
Yeah.
We jumped all over.
But he wasn't the one that was a cross-dresser. That was the one that was married to your other sister, right, Donna?
Yeah.
What was his name? Fred. He was a nut job, wasn't he?
Yeah, and him.
He would put on female clothes and
him and Bud. When my dad was on them business trips, Fred started something with Bud, and that was the wrong thing to do.
Really?
And Bud lost his temper and pulled out.
He
ripped out the lap.
Had Bud been in the Vietnam War?
No, he was just mean because he was Italian.
Oh, okay.
Real high temper, but he was good. He was good with cars and stuff, though. He would help people.
Yeah,
treat them right. But he got mad and ripped out the lap out of the motel because Fred got in one of them macho big, not the other way, but the macho big bully move, because Bud was short, but he was stocky. Especially back then when they lived in Georgia, because Bud's arms was that big around. And
he was huge.
But he was short and he was real wide when he was in Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah.
But after they got busted and he went to jail 3 years later when he came back, to Joanne when he got out of prison, he didn't look big no more. He looked like he shrunk. Anyway, at that time, he jumped up and got to grab the lamp out of the motel and just ripped it plumb off. It was real heavy, man, just broken.
Really?
Fred, man, he nailed him so hard he did not know what hit him.
One of them didn't
kill
kill
him in the motel.
One of them didn't kill him.
That's the one he let him. He was laying
on the
floor, and Bud was still cussing at him. You know what?
What did you think of my mother?
Your mom?
Yeah, Betty Joy. Yeah, my mother and your mother was best friends for years and years and years.
They were.
See, they wound up going out to California together, and then they wound up north together.
Yeah.
And your mother just loved my mother. My mother loved your mother.
Sure.
They used to call one
best
another.
friends.
Used to call one another sugar.
Yeah. They were.
Shugs. That was it. Shugs.
Yeah. They were best friends.
Yeah, they were best friends.
It's still kind of. I don't know how it happened. How me and David almost look like twins. I don't know about now, but I mean,
I know.
there was a time that you did. You know.
I know. You did. You really did. That deal that your father got into, that was kind of a rough deal. Whenever I tell people about that he was doing that, he wound up getting busted in his own hometown there at Scotty Whitworth's pool room. Because your dad, if I'm not mistaken, he was like a pool shark, and didn't he have a stick or something like that worth about $10,000?
I think Junior Orr owned it at the time before. Then Scotty came in later.
Okay, and then Scotty come in later.
Yeah.
But anyways, after that occurred, I remember Mama Lucy set us all down. I don't know if he was there or not. I don't think he was. And she said, "Well, it's like this. It won't never be the same again." And we said, "Why, Grandma?" She said, "Because the way these people are, they'll judge us because of what your dad done, Charles."
Yeah.
And you know what? They did. They turned on us. They
Well-
really did. They turned on all of us to the point that and that's bad because down in the South, and I don't know, it may be this way up north, but they judge you off of your relations. If your dad was a drunk, odds are you're a drunk. If your dad was a thief, odds are you're a thief. If your dad was a whoremonger, odds are you're a whoremonger. If your mother was a whore, odds are your sister's a whore. You know what I'm saying? They put everybody in the same they compartmentalized everybody.
I remember this too. That started to follow suit with other men in that town that people didn't really think a lot of. And one of them was Bobby. They started.
Bobby Sue?
Bobby Skinner. They started treating him the same way they did my dad.
Yeah.
Because there was something about Bobby Skinner that they got to where they weren't liking him or something, and so he was like the second guy. They started treating him the same way they did my dad. And,
Really?
Yeah. And Bobby Skinner got to where he'd sit down and have coffee with my dad in the mornings, like.
Who was that cop that was in that Kenton for years and years and years? Shane, who was that?
Don Curry.
You remember him?
Yeah.
He was the guy that messed my life up in 1983. Whenever I went down there, they had a town hall meeting on me, man. Did you ever hear anything about that?
I don't know if it was Don Curry though.
It was Don Curry. It was Don Curry, and it was also the guy that had a patch over his eye. Paul.
I didn't know him.
Yeah, Paul somebody.
They had another guy that was there for a long time called Ray Barber.
But Damian Cross was in on that meeting that night.
Dang.
Yeah, Damian Cross and Dad, Mom. We had a table meeting, and there towards the last, they patted Dad on the back and told him what kind of good job that he done. Whenever he attacked me after that car rolled over on top of me, and I still had 64 staples up and down my belly, and they told me that if I didn't go to the mental institution voluntarily, that they was going to force me to go involuntarily. And that come out of the mayor's mouth. That didn't come out of Dad. That didn't come out of Grizzly's mouth. That come out of the mayor's mouth.
Yeah.
But you know what? Whenever I went out on my own and I, become self-sufficient again, because I fell off that building in 1979, and I'm still trying to recover from that. I'm gonna have to go get my left ankle fused this fall. But whenever I come back to Tennessee in 2014, that was one of the first things that I done was go down there to City Hall, and I wanted to look at their Minuteman book, because in their Minuteman book it's supposed to be anytime the mayor has a open public meeting, they're supposed to document that stuff and record it, right? So I asked to get the Minuteman book. I knew just about I knew the exact year, but I knew pretty much so the month, and I got to looking through it, and sure enough, and whenever I got to about where I was supposed to have been with the meeting, there was a whole page looked like somebody just took and just ripped it out of the book.
There ought to be a law against that.
It is a law against that.
If I was king or
It
queen,
is a law against that. They're not supposed to, whenever stuff like that is handled publicly, they're not supposed to discard of it. But I bet you Damian Cross probably sat down with 2 or 3 others after that occurred, after it probably was in the book, and sat down and said, you know what? It'd probably be best if you took that out.
What here's something, buddy?
What?
Bobby Skinner was one of the first ones that turned against the Bang Cross.
Boy, Kenton used to be a hopping little place, didn't it? Whenever it had 3 or 4 factories in it, and employed all them people. Now it's just turning nothing but a retirement home. You know it?
Yeah.
It's a retirement home. Is Miss Sweat still living?
Of course. Of course.
Jimmy's wife. Jimmy's
grandmother or mom?
No, Jimmy's
Yeah,
wife.
Of course she is.
Is she 100 yet?
I think so. She's been saying she's 96 for 8 years now. Remember Tim Taylor? You know, he gets mad about it. He said, I shouldn't really get mad, Chan. He said, listen, I've gave up. He said, that woman ain't never going to die, man. He keeps saying
Is Tim Taylor still living?
Huh?
Is Tim still living?
Yeah.
Where's he at now? Over in Greenfield, last time I heard.
Yeah.
Really? I ain't never seen him. I've never bumped into him as many times I went to Sharon and Greenfield and all them places. I've never met him in Walmart or none of the above. If I did, has he changed? Is he still tall? Still got red hair?
No, I mean, it's kind of blondish. His brother had more reddish hair than he did. Tim, I know his name.
I never did know his brother.
Well, he had the same, a little bit more reddish hair.
Okay.
And his name Rick Taylor. He's a little slimmer than Tim. But Tim Taylor, he does have some health problems now or something. His eyes and stuff, he started going kind of blind a little.
Right.
But they brought it back to where he was pretty good. And his mother wound up to helped him finally. He was without license forever and ever, and without a car forever and ever. She helped him get a car, and she helped him get his license. He got his license, and he's got like a nice little car, and he's able to drive some. But he says that he has to be careful because of his eyes. He drives mainly during the day.
Right.
But I haven't seen him I haven't actually.
You know your uncle's still living, right?
I thought he was Bill.
Bill? Yeah, I go down there and see him about I don't know 3 or 4 times a year. He's still up there at Paris Landing.
Yeah. There's something
Betty Mae died, and then about 6 months or a year and a half, something like that. Then his only son died.
Yeah, Jason.
Jason died. Jason died at the age of 46.
That's just crazy.
They said Betty Mae had that cancer, and they was doing that chemo, and it was costing them $1,000 a pill. And they said a big hole come out in the back of her back where that cancer was trying to come out, oozing and all kinds of stuff. They said it was awful. She from the way I understand it, she died a very miserable death. Yep, that's bad. That's really, really bad.
There's something about people go like Mr. Uncle Bill. I know Betty was kind of overweight or something. The cancer had a lot to do with why she passed on. But on the other hand, I mean, cancer runs in family.
Hey, if heart attacks don't get us out, cancer will. That's the main 2 ingredients that's killing people.
I never met Big Daddy. I wasn't around. He already passed away when I came along. But Big Daddy had cancer. But, and Uncle Bill's had some. He had skin stuff, but he's had it, take care of.
Yeah.
But it seems like
But you would think out of all the people that should have got cancer, it should have been Uncle Bill, because he was just like Charles and just like Dad towards using that synthetic paint and all those hardeners and isocyanates and all them other different chemicals.
Well,
why didn't he get cancer instead of Betty Mae?
Because he was the one out of all the family, their family. He's a lot like me. Because he's always in the outdoors. He's always fishing, and I mean, I've heard that.
Staying active.
Yeah, I've heard that from doctors and specialists and just people in church. And they always do say that people that do spend a lot of time outdoors, as long as they're not baking themselves in the sun.
Right.
And, and staying kind of some point in the shade off a night if you're fishing or whatever. They say outdoors in the country, mainly, is the best thing.
Well, out in the countries, that's where all the trees are, or it used to be, where all the oxygen, the main oxygen supply.
I had a feeling that he would be around for a long time because he's outdoor, and that's why that sweat woman is probably still around because see, she was always outdoors farming.
Her name's Nort.
She was always farming. Like even when they was up in Wisconsin, she was always outdoors. Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's where I am.
Is it?
I do a lot of my work outdoors.
Do you stay here now in Dyersburg, or you stay with Carrie, or you just bounce back and forth?
Yeah,
different places.
Stay with Carrie sometimes for the week, and then sometimes over Jimmy's because we're still sort of like trying to mess around with a little bit of music.
I'm 62 now. How old are you, Shane?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 41 or something.
Ah, yeah, sure. You're probably what, 56?
Maybe.
Because Carrie's a year older than me. He's 63.
Yeah.
You're about 56. You and David's about the same age, wasn't you?
Man, that's a good question.
David died at the age of 51. And that was in 17. So if he was 51 and you and David's about the same age, 5 years later, yeah, you're 56.
Well,
You're 56, Shane. You're just about over the hill.
no. Oh.
You're just about over the hill, man.
You don't really know. Maybe a little.
I tell you what, it's been hot, hasn't it? It has really been freaking hot. I don't know if the air conditioner's made it soft or what, but it's been hot. All them people down south, ain't no telling how much them people's light bills and stuff's costing them to keep their houses cool. It just depends on what size house that they got. But I bet you they're probably paying anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 a month just to keep them air conditioners going day and night. You know what? And that's just a regular house. Could you only imagine what a building like this would take? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, just a building like this in normal temperatures is about $20,000 a month. Because you got to figure all them coolers, this thing, lights stay on basically 24/7. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're probably looking at probably twice that amount of money out in Phoenix and Texas. How about all the illegal immigrants coming over here bringing all the fentanyl? What do you think about that? We're under attack right now, Shane. You know it? We're under siege. The devil is rearing up right now. You know it. All these storms, all the freaking stuff going on in the world. Man, it's gotten freaking crazy, hasn't it? Hey, right now wouldn't be a good time to be living in Chicago, would it?
Probably not.
I was told it's like little Baghdad up there.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they get like 30, 40 killings every weekend. Every weekend.
That's crazy.
Every weekend.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep. So down around Cicero, Kankakee, all them areas.
This road's always been rough.
Yeah. Shane, good seeing you, man. Take care. Gotta go.